Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Heritage International School in Chisinau, Moldova. We welcome you to the global event World Education Week organized by the T4. And we are very glad to be able to host our global event in our own school. To introduce the speakers, we have our school director, Mr. Robert Ford. And we have our academic director, Mrs. Inga Kiosa. So today we want to tell you how we brought our school into a new reality, the one of the hybrid learning after having a spring lockdown and having moved our school to our online learning for a whole 3 months. More details after the video that we are going to share. But before this, we have a student, one of our brilliant students who will answer several questions regarding the technology that our teachers use in our heritage school. Sabina, you're welcome.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Dear audience, my name is Sabina Tsurkan. I'm 14 years old and I study at Heritage International School. I am part of this community from the very beginning. I'm in 8th B grade and I would like to talk about the evolution of technology during our academic year.
Welcome, Sabrina. First of all, we would like you to tell us how was the lockdown in spring? How was the learning while you were locked in a house?
Of course, it was my first experience having this type of learning, but I enjoyed it and I actually learned a lot of new things and understood a lot of topics from the curriculum that I didn't know until then. But also, it was the disadvantage of this idea was the lack of communication and the fact that I didn't get to see my colleagues for 3 months or even more because we didn't meet even after the pandemic in summer. But there are a lot of advantages, of course, because we got to experience a new way of learning. Also, the teachers had a lot of work on their shoulders because they had to prepare a lot of presentations, a lot of work to check our homeworks, of course, and that took a lot of time because some teachers didn't even know how to work with technology, so they had to learn everything from the beginning. But in the end, everything worked just right. And if this way of learning showed me that we can learn in different ways and we can adapt to any type of learning.
Sabina, after experiencing the lockdown at home, tell us now how is the learning now in the new academic year with a new reality that is called hybrid?
Even if we had already adapted to the DLP program learning, but however, now when we came back to school, everything was just the same. So some of students are learning from home and some of us are coming to school, but it is amazing in my opinion because everybody gets a chance to choose, and the teachers also pay attention to each student. For example, if we work in a class, something that we have to write on the board or anything, we have an online board as well, and our board, whiteboard in class. So everybody gets the chance to express their opinion and ask questions, because by the time we are learning in class, the same thing are learning the my classmates in the hybrid mode, because the teachers always try to pay attention to them as well. So if they have any questions, they can ask, and everything works just fine.
Sabina, can you tell us, please, what is your favorite web tool that teachers use?
Oh, we have a lot of web tools, and I actually like all of them. For example, most of them we use the Google apps. For example, we use Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Sheets, even what else? Google Classroom, of course, where teachers post of our assignments or of the homework, and it makes our learning much easier. And also, not talking about the Google tools, we also have different apps for projects. For example, we have Google Slides or Canva or anything else. We have Powtoon, and now during technology classes, we learn more and more so that we could improve our presentations.
Sabina, how do you imagine the future of education?
Oh, the future of education. It is a very important question, and I really like it, because I think that the education in future should be based not only on all the learning stuff and the curriculum, but as well on what children like and prefer. So it should be fun, but at the same time, it should be something from where students could take some information. But I also consider that the education should be based more on technology, of course, because technology not only helps us and makes the learning easier, but also improves our way of thinking, our abilities, and it is a easier, but at the same time, a better way to learn.
Thank you so much, Sabina. Thank you.
Thank you too.
I am back. So can we watch the video now?
Hello, my name is Prota. The reason why we're organizing this global showcase for World Education Week is we believe that schools have incredible expertise in making sure that learning outcomes improve. Given the state of the world, we want to see the expertise from this particular school being replicated in schools all over our planet so that the world becomes better for everyone. That is why I congratulate this school for what it does and hope that those listening can take away conclusions as to how they should actually approach their own improvement journeys. Thank you all for participating, and I look forward to seeing you in many of the other events this coming week. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors for supporting this incredible work, without whom we put together this global showcase. Thank you, and I wish you well for this event.
Fast-paced social, economic and technology-driven change is redefining our world. And having a broad range of skills, such as creativity and problem-solving, has become far more important than being able to memorize information. To redefine how our children learn and to empower them for the future, parents, teachers and policymakers must stop overlooking a powerful part of the solution: learning through play. Play is the rocket fuel of child development, and there is a growing body of evidence to support that play is fundamental for children's positive growth and well-being over time. It is also an essential way to foster the skills required to thrive in today's world. The LEGO Foundation aims to build a future in which learning through play empowers children to become creative, engaged, lifelong learners. To do so, we work with a range of partners around the world to change the hearts and minds of all of those who influence children's lives through our programs, research and advocacy, so they can all embrace the transformative power of play. Examples of what we do include making sure that caregivers, practitioners and policymakers understand the importance of play, investigating, testing and scaling new ways to bring play-based learning into homes and schools, using play to help millions of the world's most vulnerable children cope with adverse childhood experiences and toxic stress, or conducting research with some of the world's leading research institutions. Please visit our website and follow us on social media to learn more.
Language connects us all. It's how friendships are formed, ideas are shared, and lessons are learned. Language is how we find understanding and express love. It's how we communicate our successes, both big and small. It lays the groundwork for learning and growth. And for an increasingly diverse student population, it can be the key to achievement in school and beyond. That's why Rosetta Stone Education is dedicated to language and literacy. We offer solutions designed to support teachers and their emergent bilingual students, recognizing and celebrating the knowledge, culture, and languages they bring to our classrooms. Our products are founded on the adaptive blended learning model for individual needs, continuous progress monitoring for better learning outcomes, and culturally responsive pedagogies for more inclusive classrooms. With solutions aligned with proficiency standards, we support language learning while exploring academic subject areas, paving the way to better outcomes. Because for all of us, language is everything.
Dear T4 community, we talk a lot about teachers these days, but we rarely listen to them. Therefore, I am truly excited to join the T4 World Education Week to hear from teachers and school leaders all over the world how we can impact learning together. I am particularly looking forward to the global showcase. 100 schools sharing their expertise and best practices, I believe, will be a huge motivation for other schools around the globe. I'm equally impressed by the T4 Solutions Challenge, its finalists and their solutions to real-world issues in education. This gives me hope that we can, together, turn around education globally. The Jacobs Foundation is a proud supporter of the T4 World Education Week because we share a vision to reimagine learning and education by bringing together the brightest people who understand how children learn. Let's do this together.
Tatiana, you need to unmute.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm full of emotions. I apologize. First of all, I want to share my screen again. Don't forget, for those who are watching, to use the hashtag WorldEduWeek in case you want to make any posts on the social media. To remind again what is the expertise that we are going to showcase today, we will focus on the technology use in order to bring education in front of our learners in the hybrid approach or in the online context that we used in the COVID lockdown. So our panelist today is Mr. Rob Ford, Director of Heritage International School, a British Council and a Twinning Ambassador. Mr. Ford has a wide expertise in global learning. He has been advising schools all around the world on school leadership, management, and many other things. Mrs. Inga Kyosa is our academic director. Mrs. Kyosa has experience in delivering the curriculum. She has been a coach and trainer for the Odyssey of the Mind competition. She has been involved in twinning for many years, and she can tell us many things about the technology that our school is using. And we have also Mrs. Daniela Munka-Aftenev, who is the president of the Academy for Innovation and Change for Education. Mrs. Munka-Aftenev is also the country coordinator on distance learning. She has a wide experience in bringing the world into the classroom for various programs offered by the US Embassy or many other educational programs that are available online. She has had training in the United States on educational technology, and she will tell us about things that she has used in order to bring technology on country level. I apologize, they don't want to show in a big mode, so I'll have to make the small one. So in the spring, when the lockdown only started, our school, Heritage International School, was one of the key partners of the Ministry of Education near the Academy for Innovation and Change, who helped in training teachers nationwide and creating policies for online learning. We have shared all our expertise with teachers across the country and across the world in order to help everyone pass through these difficult times in a terrible lockdown that everyone got into overnight. Our director, Mr. Rob Ford, is taking part in lots of online events in order to showcase what he's doing at our school as a director of an international school. For example, he participates in COBIS webinars or in the Global Conference of Salzburg, hearing to famous educators around the world and sharing his own experience. We participate in Global School Alliance conferences. Mrs. Kyosa and myself this summer shared our experience of how we deliver the online and distance learning to educators that are part of this group. You can see in the images. We share how our teachers became more flexible in the lockdown, switching their activities in such a mode that the students felt comfortable to be studying from home. And we also involved them in lots of collaboration projects, international projects run around the world. We also delivered speeches at the British Council Schools Exchange webinars just at the beginning of the lockdown, sharing things that we do and sharing our practice. Our activities are also being shared in various publications around the world. For example, for Cambridge International, a recent article written by Mr. Ford for the TES, for the Global School Alliance newsletter, or local publications for Radio Free Europe. And now I would like to show some examples from our own teachers, what they created in order to ease the life of students and teachers across the country. Our history teacher, Tatiana Magalas, has a wonderful history site, and she can teach history in the most amazing way possible. She records her videos for students so they can watch them and access them whenever they are available to do this. And besides this, she also creates lots of interactive activities for the lessons she is recording. For example, using a Google map in order to speak about the museums or famous places around the country. She also has interactive maps for introducing content and teaching various structures, for example, in the Naples houses. Our math teacher proudly showed us how she uses the live worksheets in order to create worksheets for her students in math, and they can access them online in our new hybrid reality when both students in the classroom and the one that are at home need to access the same material in order to be ready and in order to learn things and to practice the same kind of thing. So live worksheets comes in various forms for different subjects, for languages, sciences, etc. But the math teacher proudly uses them in order to create her own worksheets and also to access some others that are already designed by others. So this is how she gets the results counted by the system itself. Another good tool for evaluation used by teachers is wiser.me. The same, the math teachers find it easy to integrate into their own lessons. Here it shows how each student gets the results and the grade. Another wonderful tool is Ginzi, an online whiteboard that helps teachers engage in learning vocabulary or doing various tasks online through various educational games. And the good news is that this tool is Google integrated. So it is very easy to make use of it through using in the Google Classroom. So the teachers can use them for various subjects, different forms of evaluation, formative or summative. And it is very interactive. And of course, Padlet is one of our favorite tools. We have used it widely in the lockdown. Here, Mrs. Kiosa was sharing her presentation at the Global School Alliance conference in the summer, showing how we used in the spring Padlet in order to generate activities for students that were at home. And it was used by the ministry too. And even we congratulate our teachers in a different way because we need to keep distance physically, and we only congratulated our teachers online. So they didn't see the faces of the students too much, but just they have read the hundreds of messages they got on this Padlet. So this activity was done as a school. And here are 5 steps that we say that we can replicate from our school. We always consider that using the simplest tools helps teachers not to spend much time. We need to choose the tool that is the one necessary for our topic. No good result can be achieved without a plan. So when we have good planning from the start, we know how to get where we want. Communication is always the key to success, and here we want to mention again how important it is to have a good communication with the parents at home when we deliver the distance learning or the hybrid learning, in order to make sure that the students are present, the students are engaged in the lesson, and everything works properly. Keeping the same routines maintain the cohesion of the school as a community, and this is what our administration had done brilliantly in the lockdown to keep us all together and to feel that we are a group of people aiming for the same and heading towards the same success. With more details, Mrs. Kiosa will come here. And the positive examples should be shared with colleagues to get inspired from. We share all we can and all we know with teachers nationwide and worldwide to help each other pass through the difficult periods that we are in. Now I would like to introduce our first speaker, who is Mr. Robert Ford. Mr. Ford has something to present as well, so we kindly ask him to present.
Thank you, Tatiana, and thank you to everybody. I just want to congratulate the organisers of this incredible week of showcasing 100 amazing schools, all doing extraordinary things, all showing us what we can learn. I would say the most positive thing that's come out of this crisis is our collaboration, that even if we don't have the answers and the solutions, somebody does, or somebody has a way of doing it already. And I think this is a very powerful week of international education. And my huge thanks to Vikas and all the people who've spent a long time putting this together. And the wonderful thing about this week is the conversations won't stop this week. This is about giving us the bounce to take us forward into the months ahead. Because what we've learned in this crisis is it was never going to be a couple of snow days. We took a breath in the summer when we realized we'd got ourselves through the lockdown for the first few months, and then we all went on our summer break and we saw what happened when people eased restrictions, and we saw whether it's a second wave or still a continuation of the first wave, certainly across Europe, of the cases going back up again. And for us in education, the biggest challenge we have, whether we're a school leader or a school classroom teacher or a teaching assistant or somebody trying to make sure the school is open, is how do we continue education? That's the biggest challenge for us. And there are many, many solutions. We have said right from the beginning, doing nothing was never an option for us. And what I've really come to appreciate in this crisis is looking at all sorts of local communities, finding local solutions that fit them. And nobody's been able to turn around and say, do this 100% daily synchronous learning, that will work for your community, but you have to have this digital platform or you have to have this digital tool. We've seen school administrators delivering work remotely in all sorts of parts of the world, you know, the remote Midwest of the US or the mountains in Norway. We've seen in our own country, in Moldova, all kinds of solutions, synchronous, asynchronous, digital, all sorts of things, blended learning, that have gone to find a solution, which is at the heart of what we're all trying to achieve, is to make sure our young people, our children, have the routines and have the challenge of learning. Now, Heritage International was founded on the very principle that we prepare our students as future leaders for the challenges that lie ahead. None of us could have predicted 2020. We all want this edition of Jumanji to be over, but none of us could have actually predicted the year that we're currently having. And when we look at leadership in this crisis, and we've seen some remarkable examples of leadership in all sorts of schools and organizations as people find solutions quickly, the word that I keep thinking about when I look at my colleagues here or around the globe is adaptability. And what we've been able to do as educators is we adapt very quickly. We adapt to the new circumstances. We adapt to the fact that this is now the parameters we have to run in. I had a great conversation with Tatiana this morning. We had a new colleague who hasn't used the Google Classroom Suite before, and she said, I've only had one day on it. Well, she was very lucky because some of us had about 1 hour before we went straight into this. But you know what? My colleagues are helping that teacher, and that teacher was already mastering the skills in order to teach her students who were in quarantine to be able to access their learning. And that's what we see time and time again. Sir Ken Robinson, the late Sir Ken Robinson, talked about this crisis before his death of an opportunity to reimagine our education and reimagine what education's for. And we see those conversations already around qualifications, around what are we teaching students in the curriculum, what skills are we giving them to actually take on the challenges of the future. And I was very fortunate to sit in, I think you showed the slide just, Tatiana, in the Salzburg Global Seminar a couple of weeks ago, and the wonderful John Hattie talked about the golden ticket. He talked about looking at this crisis as an accelerator for schools to actually shift learning in a way that, you know, we've been bandying around the words 21st century and, you know, new ways of learning, and we're 20 years into the 21st century, you know, facing the biggest crisis in peacetime. And we do need to actually look at how we can take the opportunities that have come from this crisis. And again, not just our collaboration as a global schools community, which is a wonderful, rich sort of consequence of what has happened in 2020. But when we look at the way our students are learning, and we had this conversation this week about some students are actually thriving under the way they're allowed to learn and more independently. We've seen that, you know, mobile phones and devices aren't the evil of the age. Actually, they're facilitating our learning. They're being used in a correct way. We are seeing our teacher's role change. And Hattie talked about this as well. Hattie talked about the teacher, you know, not dominating for 90% of the teaching and learning time, but actually the way that tasks are being designed in learning, the way that we see learning being blended. And all of this really has changed. You know, we can all talk about glib phrases of next normal, new normal, but this is our normal. This is our normality, and it will go on into 2021. And I think most of us have realized that now as we go forward. I want to finish on the idea of hope. Hope is the most powerful idea we have in education. It's what keeps us going. It's our compassion, it's our care, but our hope is that we know that for our young people, there is a better and a brighter future. And we're going to prepare them, as the great Kurt Hahn said, with the leadership skills to take on those challenges. And, you know, we have, behind me is the painting done about the Heritage Lighthouse, and a wonderful Welsh phrase from my from my wonderful Wales, which is Imior Hyd. We are still here. And as educators, we will continue to still be here with those beacons of hope, finding solutions, as we always do in education, long after governments have caught up with us. And we will make sure our students can come to school in whatever form that looks like and continue their learning and continue to look forward to the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ford, Mr. Ford. I would like to introduce the next speaker, which is Mrs. Inga Kiosa. Hello, Mrs. Kiosa.
Thank you, Tatiana. I feel privileged to take part, and I would like to share my screen. I hope you will be able to see it. Just let me know, please. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay. Let's try again, I'm sorry. Okay, I try once more, and if we don't, maybe we'll offer the word to Miss Daniela. It's something technical, so it shows we need permission. I wouldn't like to take time. Sorry.
Okay, let us introduce Mrs. Daniela Munkaftenev, who is here to tell us something. She has so many things to share with us. It's a pity not to listen to her.
Good afternoon, everyone. Tatiana is absolutely right. She only gave me like around 7 minutes to present all the wonderful things that I would like to share with you. So I would like to thank the entire Heritage team. You guys did a really amazing job in the spring, and the fact that you were able to actually come up with a solution real quickly when it was needed, when it was necessary, wasn't just, it happened because you were there. It happened because you're very hardworking and talented and smart. It happened because you started using technology efficiently in the teaching process for some time. So that's why for you it was easier to adjust. So my wish for any school that has encountered challenges along the way is to start experimenting with technology, and do it as often as possible, and not wait for a crisis to happen, or not wait for like an imperative, a strong imperative to be there, but just, as we say, try it out, give it a try, use different platforms, encourage teachers to experiment, encourage students to experiment, encourage teachers to collaborate with each other. And what we're doing today is an excellent example of changing of best practices in education. I will try to do the same thing. I put together a very, very short PowerPoint presentation, and I will try to share my screen. Tatiana, just guide me along and let me know if you can see my slides. Okay, so let me know if you see my first slide. Yes, okay, good. So the topic of today's event is how we integrate technology for learning in schools. And you mostly talked about specific institutions. I would like to talk about a project that has managed to cover Republic of Moldova on a national scale. The name of the project in Romania is Educație Online. So in English, that would be online education. This is a national learning platform. I will tell you how we worked on creating this platform and how we plan to develop it. And most importantly, we have learned some important lessons at the end of this project or throughout the project that I would like to share with all of you. So we're all very fond of YouTube tutorials and YouTube videos. Anytime we need help with, anything, cooking or makeup or fashion, or of course teaching, we go to YouTube and we just type in the keyword, and there you go. You will see thousands and thousands of tutorials and interviews with people who have used that or who are experts in the domain. If you're more interested in learning at a more academic level, then definitely Coursera should be your best friend, because on Coursera you can find free courses offered by the most prestigious universities around the world. And right now you can actually see that the best universities in the world actually compete one against each other, who can offer more interesting curriculum. So that's definitely a platform you should explore. And everybody knows about Khan Academy, those wonderful, very short tutorials on curriculum, but explained in a very friendly way, in a very in a way that would appeal to anyone, no matter the age, the nationality, or the level of, previous academic skills. So these resources are wonderful, and we can, use them whenever we have time and we need to experiment. But what happens when we have a school curriculum and we have a formal education that we need to deliver, and then boom, the COVID happens and all the schools, get into the quarantine or they get closed? What do we do when we actually need to stick to the formal instruction, and we need to make sure that the teaching process continues remotely and continues according to the school or national curricula? So in Republic of Moldova, we had the same problem, and this happened in March, and we only had like 2 or 3 weeks to deal with that problem until the schools, managed to actually move into remote teaching or distance learning. So what we did is we created a national project which is called Online Education, or Educație Online in Romanian. So what we did is we tried to take the entire curriculum for March, April, and May, record video lessons, post them in an online library so that all the kids from Republic of Moldova would access them with no password, no registration required, and no digital skills or advanced digital skills. So what we did is we grouped the video lessons according to the grade. So we had, as I said, we covered the entire curriculum, which is K through 12. So we started with the first grade, and we had video lessons up to grade 12. And as you can see here, this is actually a screenshot from the website. Every lesson would have the description of the teacher, and as you can see, for example, this is a 9th grade or 9th form, so you can see all the subject on the left side, on my side: biology, chemistry, geography, physics, English, civics, history, and IT education. So all the school curricula, all the subjects were grouped accordingly. And for every lesson, we had a 15-minute long video that was not just an explanation or just, a talk about the topic, but every video was organized according to a traditional lesson plan. We had the brainstorming, we had the explanation of the new topic, and then we had some practical activities, and then we also had reflection. So every video included in the library had a very fixed structure that followed this formal structure that usually is used in any traditional classroom. So it wasn't just the 2 or 3 minutes, 15 minutes. So it looked pretty much like a traditional lesson, just without the students and the teachers being physically present in one classroom. In addition to the video content, we also added interactive activities. So as you can see, and we had 3 types of activities. We had activities for brainstorming, and then we had the teaching itself when students had to work with the new information. And then we have reflection, where students had to interact to see how well they understood the video content of the lesson. So every video lesson had these 3 types of links with 3 types of exercises. We used a multitude of platforms and apps, and we did everything at that time in March. We just used everything we knew. So I think all the platforms that you are familiar with are here on our website, and we had quizzes, and we had fill in the gaps, and we had the matching exercises. We had games, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, the horse race, all these fun things that we do online. So all these activities, they helped supplement the video content or the curricular content taught using a video lesson. Of course, our teachers try to, improvise and try to be creative. Sometimes we had 2 teachers in the same lesson. Our teachers brought toys and brought a lot of other support, additional support to be in the lesson. They also role played. You can see one of our teachers playing the guitar. So some of our teachers brought musical instruments, and no matter the topic, the fruit, vegetable, cartoons, going to the zoo, or clothing. So we decided to try to make those videos as interesting as possible, as diverse as possible. Here you can see an experiment. So during the recording, the teacher who was teaching chemistry or physics, I'm not sure if this is probably chemistry, so she actually brought in the things that she needed for the experiment, the tools, and you can see that our teacher is wearing, the proper attire, and you can see the experiment going on. This is another example of another teacher, physics teacher, who's also experimenting, and she's actually demonstrating. You can see her laptop, so she was talking about the topic, but at the same time, she had this small, experiment that was happening right in the studio, so that the students could feel, the real way of how to learn that specific topic. In addition to curricular lessons, we also had other academic sections. For example, on personal security or safety, online safety, we also had experts from other domains like psychologists, speech experts, who would come and talk, again, in very short videos, this time 2 or 3 minutes. And for example, this is a speech expert talking about how to pronounce correctly sounds, especially for pre-K and younger students. And then we have parental education. We had psychologists, and we also had very short animations, like cartoon-like animations, to talk about how important it is for parents to be there for their students during their isolation, social isolation of the COVID. And then we had the psychologists, who had a lot of very interesting videos, how to be, to feel secure, how to feel safe, how to deal with psychological problems during, again, the social isolation. So the website contained the curricular lessons, but at the same time, a lot of additional material that was really important to maintain the safety and to make sure that the parents and the children are safe at home, and they know that they're not forgotten, they're not left there alone. There are experts out there, even if they are on YouTube or on a website, they're still there helping them with advice and anything that they would need to deal with a specific issue. Because many of our students, or some of our students, still don't have access to technology, or we have families where there's only one computer, but there are like 3 or 4 children that need to be connected simultaneously. We collaborated with all the local major TV stations, and we made sure that all the videos that we posted on the website were also broadcasted on all the national television and all the other IVLP stations. So this was in the news, and we made sure that everybody in Moldova learned learn about the project, and everyone who was interested in continuing the learning process could access the library just by sitting at home comfortably in a sofa watching TV. So you can see a few screenshots from all the major TV stations in Republic of Moldova that took over our lessons, and our students could go to the website and see the list of subjects and then look, at 3 p.m. I have biology, and at 4 p.m. I have chemistry, at 5 p.m. I have English classes. So our students could organize their time, in a good way. And of course, our parents were the happiest one because they didn't have to help. I'm a parent, and sometimes it's difficult to help my children with the homework because I don't understand. I don't understand some of the tasks in some of the contents in the textbook. So I was like, oh, we have the lesson, we have the virtual teacher to help out. Let's watch the video together. So of course that was a great help for parents as well. Now let's talk about numbers, and this is when I'm going to impress you. So as I said, we only had 3 weeks, and during 3 weeks, we involved over 500 educators from the capital city, and we had coordinators, we had mentors, we had teachers. Sometimes we didn't have enough teachers, so we contracted actors, and the actors would read from the scripts made by other teachers, and they will help us with that. We had experts like psychologists or speech experts from NGOs that also joined the project. We had editors, and of course we had IT staff and many volunteers because it was a huge project. So during 3 weeks, 500 educators involved plus 200 staff, we created around 2,500 video lessons that were posted on YouTube and then on the project website. And so far we have 8,000 subscribers and of course over several million views of the library in total. So I hope I impressed you with these numbers because we did this huge project in just 3 weeks. Normally, we would need at least 1 year to make this happen. I mean, this project is huge work, huge effort. We just did it in a few weeks because we wanted the school to continue no matter what. And we actually did it. But we also learned a few very important lessons that I would like to share with all of you. So first of all, curriculum content needs to be available through various channels, because if we can't go to school and if we don't have the textbook with us, it's very hard to teach. So that's why creating video lessons was a good solution. But imagine that our students or your students don't have access to the internet. This is why we also broadcasted them on national TVs. So if you have video content or any other curricular related content, make sure you use it through different channels, not just YouTube, not just the school website, not just the internet. Go to TV, radio if it's just audio. So make sure you cover as much as possible in terms of delivery of information. Second important lesson we learn is the entire community needs to be involved. If it's just teachers, you will not succeed because you will never have enough number of teachers, and the teachers will be overwhelmed and they will not be able to deliver such a big number of lessons. That's why we collaborated with partners, donors, actors. We involved NGOs. We involved, of course, Ministry of Education, Culture and Research. We involved our parents that helped us with some technical part and the civil society. So this type of projects involve everyone, and I think everyone should help in making sure that the learning process doesn't stop during the COVID. 3, curriculum content needs to be adjusted and enhanced. So we didn't just read from PowerPoint slides. We didn't just tell our students, please open the book and read the text and complete the exercise. We made sure that our teachers were creative. We asked them to, role play. They brought musical instruments. We had experiments in the video. We encouraged native speakers for for foreign languages to come in and help our educators. So all these elements, because it's kind of boring to watch the same type of movie, make sure that your video lessons are diverse and you have a lot of people involved so that the students like, oh, what's going to happen today? Oh, today was different from yesterday. And the last, and of course not the least, standard high quality on a national level. So what we wanted to achieve is we wanted every kid in Republic of Moldova to have access to the same quality, to the same education. So one teacher would teach every kid in Moldova if that teacher created a video lesson that was on TV, was on YouTube, and was on the project website. And this is how we make sure everyone has access to education, to the same high quality education. And I think, this project accomplished many objectives, but this was one of the most important ones. We made sure every child in Republic of Moldova had access to high quality education. So my dears, I'm encouraging you to visit the website. Even if you don't speak Romanian, we have lessons in English and French and German, just to have a look at how the website is organized. We are now working on the second part of the project, and we are now filming lessons for September, October, November, December. I mean, September is over, but October, November, December. We are continuing the project. We have a lot of sponsors who are eager to support it. So we're really happy that just in case anything happens, or just in case we have kids who are still at home and can't go to school physically speaking, now they will still be able to access high quality materials from our online library. Tatiana, I think that's it, and I hope I did not use too much of the time that was assigned to me. Thank you so much, and please visit our library, and I hope that many other people will be inspired by this project, and the most important thing is to dare. So don't think that this is impossible. This is possible. If we did it, then anyone can try.
Thank you so much, Daniela. So much valuable information being presented by you. There are already some questions for you, which I will ask Advita. I think Kiosa manages to present hers. Mrs. Kiosa, you have the floor now.
Thank you. I start sharing. Can you see the screen, Tatiana?
Not yet.
Not yet. Just a minute.
Yes, now we see it.
You can see it. Oh, it makes me happy. Thank you. Just let me know if something is different. Thank you. Is it okay? Now?
We don't see a presentation. We see a page, just a page.
Okay. I'm sorry, I don't know what is happening. Okay, I try to share it again.
Maybe I can share it.
Oh, it would be great, Tatiana. Thank you so much. You know, MacBooks sometimes are capricious. So I offered permission, but it didn't want.
Okay, here it is. Please tell me if you see it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. We can see it, and we could start. Thank you for patience, and if you could just play from the first slide to let audience see it better, it would be great. Thank you. But if you think it's enough, I'm ready to continue. So we often hear the words redesign, reshape, rethink, and it's all about education. And we're not surprised because we understand nobody has ever had this experience. And we as educators are the pioneers, and we have to do our best. That's why we discuss, we have huge communities. And even the product Ms. Daniela was speaking about, we understand there is huge work behind this product. From the very beginning, our decision was that our school is open, even if it was locked down, but we said only the campus is closed. And if we speak about learning, before lockdown, academic learning was first. Now we understand that it's not enough. We have to speak about the community, we speak about the well-being. Our children had the same experience. Pandemic has been disrupting lives continuously, and our students had to face the same fears, the same anxiety. That's why it was very important to speak not only about learning, to think not only about tools, but to think about the way we are doing that. Not to let our students, our community, our teachers alone. We can go to the next one. Thank you. That's a real teamwork, Tatiana. Thank you so much. So firstly, the first key point was effective school-parent communication. Was it difficult? Not exactly, because we have been already doing that. And that's why all our tools, it was Class Dojo, it was electronic register, there were applications bought for the students. It was very important because we kept the same normal and the families having the same timetable, having the same lessons and the same routine that the child wakes up and has the lessons. They felt much better. And every week our school sends International Heritage Herald to our parents. We speak about all the details of the next week's forthcoming events, our plans, our school calendar, and answer the frequent questions. So our parents are always informed. If we speak about heritage community cohesion, it was also important. That's why what we did, we continued the same life we had before lockdown. We had school assemblies. Mr. Rob did for secondary school, primary school teachers did for primary. We continued with Heritage Virtual Choir, and they were encouraging another students. We had student council, we had permanently art galleries, and all the school events, we continued them just in another form, as well as global education projects, just to show the students that they are not alone, we are part of the world. You can see on the screen just some of our projects. For example, it was the Family Day. As a result, you can see e-books created by the students starting from grade 2. And as a result, our creativity didn't stop because the students started inventing their challenges. You can see the mask challenge of one of the classes. You can see another challenge from the primary school, what I can see from my window. And they shared making community stronger and avoiding the fears, avoiding that anxiety. The students had school as the lighthouse, and that's why it was the step to the well-being road we could do together. We can go to the next one. And we created the Padlets. Oh, sorry, Tatiana, I was in a hurry because I don't see the whole screen. So which were the instruments? If we just for a second go to the previous one. Thank you. Okay, so here you can find the most popular instruments among our teachers, students, and families. Because was it about teachers only? No, it was about the families. They used Vakaroo, they used Survey Monkeys, and you see the products that came from the families. And it was working together not only at school. I can say it was the impact, and the families also felt better because they were cooking together and showing to another families. They were spending time together, game time, movie time, and sharing this experience. So heritage community, in spite of the lockdown, was growing even stronger, was getting stronger, and it was growing. So how can the students be supported? Sure, firstly, it was Google Classroom as the platform, the bank of resources where the students had all the information. And additionally, we created language resources, math resources, and shared with the students so that they could find help even if the lesson was over. If we speak about the international projects, they continued non-stop during the lockdown and even now. Was it only for secondary school? Not. It was for primary school. Of course, they were happy to do something with children from another schools and overcome the fears. If we go to the next one, we can see how much school cares of the primary school, because what they did together, they cooked together. So the teacher was at home and the students in their houses. But anyhow, and some images are from recent lessons. You can see the students participating in Peace Day. So it was one student working from home and another from school. Can you see the difference? They both were involved. That's why it was very important for us. As well as during the school weeks, we have vacation when our students were stuck in the houses and they were not allowed to go out. That's why the school provided activities during spring vacation, during summer vacation. You can find them on our site because each of them contains huge amount of activities for every talent, for every hobby, for every student, weak points, strong points, they could be reflected here as learning support or additional activities. And you see the images, students were growing, they were designing, they were doing STEM. So these are our two examples of educational support during summer. We created a lot of activities. But if we speak about the teachers, teachers are the same people having the family and facing the same situation. So we have to equip them with the tools. That's why non-stop in our school we had teaching learning briefings, we shared experience, and you can see our resource. It's called Heritage International School Best Practices, where teachers, and not only the teachers, everyone who just follows this link can find a lot of useful presentations made by teachers. So as a result of this permanent professional development, our teachers were able to be creative, to support the students and feel much better. And you can see the images. Miss Elisa, our primary head of primary, is now making the teaching learning briefing on hybrid learning. So in the last slide, you can find two pictures. The first one, it was March, and the students sending the rainbow with hope. And the second one is our students going through the rainbow to this school year. And I would like to paraphrase our heritage motto. We usually say, we are heritage, we can do it. I would like to paraphrase, we're educators, we can do it. Thank you so much,
Mrs. Kiosa. You have inspired us to learn more and to aim for the best results for our students. So there are some questions that already appeared for the presenters. One of them is for Daniela. There is a question if everybody, all the students could benefit from the resource that you shared. Is Daniela there? Another question for everybody. What could we do if we're trying to use tech tools to improve teaching, but our students have no resources and we still need to use those resources, but they don't have the tools?
Okay, I'm going to take that as a pause.
Okay.
I think we found this lockdown that this sort of inequality amongst sort of digital platforms and digital capabilities, even in the sort of most remote communities, teachers have found a smartphone to use, or we've had, as Daniela spoke of, sponsors and groups like UNICEF or Orange have come in and helped provide a platform. We haven't designed a solution that's around a complete digital synchronous accessibility. And I think that comes back to the question about how you make your local solution fit your local community. Technology is only as good as the people that are using it. And, we saw in the lockdown many sort of schools, many sort of private schools, for example, with state-of-the-art technology capabilities, but hadn't ever really trained their staff on how to use it, and sort of floundered for a couple of months in order to find a solution. So I think you will always find something that fits your context. And I think, like with us, you will grow what you start with. I mean, the sophistication that I see now in the school as we're into hybrid learning, into another academic year where about 85% of the school is returned, but we still have some families who can't get back to us from abroad, or in isolation. We find solutions all the time. And I think nobody has suggested that the technology is a panacea for everything. But what we've done is we've found out what works for us. And I think the answer is that's what we've seen in all sorts of schools around the globe, how they found a local solution that will fit their local community.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rob. One more question for Daniela regarding the Educația Online platform. If all students were able to access and are able to access this platform?
Tatiana, I can help. As I know, every student or teacher, they could just sign up and see the videos, because as a teacher, I was curious and I signed up. That's why I can say yes. So there isn't additional access.
Thank you. So thank you very much for your attention. We want to reiterate once again what we said were the 5 key steps to replicate from Heritage International School. So when using technology, always think that less is more. To use the simplest technology in order to make your lessons fun. No good results can be achieved without having a good plan beforehand. Another one would be the communication is the key to success. Another one would be keeping routines maintained that would keep the cohesion of this community for long term. And the last one would be positive examples should be shared with the colleagues in order to inspire them. Thank you very much, everyone. It was nice to have you all here. We want to thank once again Vika Sport and the T4 team for organizing this amazing group of events the whole week, and Heritage International Schools are very proud to be part of this global event. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Tatiana. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
And keep going.
Bye-bye.